Well, we finished up the beans yesterday, right before supper time, and today we're setting up the auger to be able to ship these out because the trucker might be able to come today or tomorrow morning at the latest. So we just got to get this all ready, and then we'll be prepped for shipping these down the road. So we got the auger all set up, ready to go. Just got to pull the wagons up to it yet. Dad's finishing seeding in the cover crops in the big field that we finished yesterday. And I decided I have a limited amount of time today. It's a nice day. I wanted to pick something that I could do that was kind of easy, didn't take a whole lot of thinking and effort. So I'm actually picking rocks. I got the old M out here, and I'm just cruising the fields here. After harvesting soybeans, we kind of decided, since we're not doing tillage anymore, the best time to find the rocks and pick them up is right now when everything's nice and bare. Dad's got this all planted in cover crops, so you know, if we get any kind of a rain, it'll start sprouting, and then I don't want to be driving around out here. So we might as well grab the rocks now. I have kind of an idea of where a bunch of them are because I hit them all with the combine. So we're getting that taken care of. And hey, it's a nice day to be outside and doing something like this. At least it's low stress. I'm not worried about getting crops out anymore at this point until we get to the corn. Aha. I should take a second here and talk about the cover crop that Dad is planting right now, and which we've already got in this field. I did figure out what the mix is. It's 60 pounds of cereal rye, 2 pounds of tillage radish, and 2 pounds of rapeseed. I actually have to call. I'm not sure if the rapeseed is the kind that is gonna kill off over the winter, or whether that'll come back in the spring if it'll overwinter. Anyway, the way that Dad is applying that, he's just using a regular grain drill. It's not a no-till drill, which means it doesn't have the extra downforce on the planting coulters that would be required to push those coulters in through soil that hasn't been tilled. But a lot of this seed can be surface applied anyway. A lot of times it's aerially seeded. So we just sort of figured if we can meter it out with the grain drill evenly, that's probably good enough. We could put it on with our no-till drill, but it's considerably slower and it's a narrower grain drill, and we still have some repairs to do on that as well. So just the fact that he can roll that on and get it done means it's going to be a better application than it would have been with an airplane, although maybe not quite as good as with a no-till drill. You can see, because he doesn't have that downforce, like here the seed trench is right on the surface. But if we get just a little bit of rain, if we get any moisture, that cereal rye seed and the other seeds that are incorporated with it should be able to take off. And then there are other parts too where you can see, like, the coulter goes in a little bit deeper. There's areas where the soil is a little more mellow, not as compacted, a little bit different composition, and then it actually puts it in the ground. So it's going to be kind of an in-between sort of job. We figure that with the regular grain drill, it at least gets a nice even coverage over all the ground and meters it out nice and evenly, and that's maybe more important than actually getting it in the ground. What do you think, Olivia? Are we going to get to see a big truck today?
Yeah.
Yeah? Is that going to be kind of cool?
Yeah, it's going to be really fun.
All right, cool.
And the next day is Thursday, and that's Halloween.
Yay!
I think I'm gonna come along when you go trick-or-treating, and then when you pick up the candy, then I'll eat it. What? Can I have one piece? It's a beautiful day, isn't it?
We're all set up here to ship out some soybeans. Got all the wagons set up. That one's ready to go. There's a little bit in the hopper of the combine, so we're gonna run it in onto the load as soon as the beans go out of the gravity box there. Truck's here. We had all the wagons full and some still in the combine, so we're kind of doing a double auger setup here to get it all onto the truck. Pretty cool, huh?
Yeah, that's
Well, we got all the beans shipped out. Nice to have them down the road. Funny enough, I must have planned my fuel usage about perfectly because I pulled the combine up. There were a few beans left in the hopper of the combine, and as I was running them out into the gravity box that was going then into the auger going up to the truck, the combine ran out of fuel. So I had to hustle and get a can of gas dumped in it. Luckily we had one here. Get the hopper on that empty and the rest of the beans down the road. We actually have one gravity box left that we couldn't fit on the truck, so Dad's going to take it to a local elevator. So now for the rest of the day, this is, I don't know, a little embarrassing I guess, but not really. It's just a fact of life on a farm. We have a few bags of cover crop seed left. In fact, we came out to like 10 bags left. When we did the math, we figured they gave us about 5 bags extra. I'm not sure how that happened, but when you went by the numbers and the bag weight, it seemed like we had more than we ordered, which I guess is a good problem to have. The issue is that we're on a cost-sharing program with our Soil and Water Conservation District, so we need to get this seed in the ground. Normally, if we had under-applied it, we probably would have just shrugged and said, well, we'll save this and we'll have it for next year. If we'd have been off by a bag or 2, that would have been one thing, but because we're on that cost-sharing program, we got to get this seed on the ground. So, on the ground? In the ground? It's not a no-till drill. I guess it could be either. So anyway, I gotta throw these bags in the planter, and I gotta reset the drill here to a lighter planting amount and get the rest of the seed on. We figured maybe in that big 18-acre field over there we must have run a little bit light, and since that's the biggest acreage we've got, we're just gonna run the seed on that one field and get it all in the ground and be done with it then. That's what I'm up to for a little bit here, so we'll see how it goes. Running out the last of our cover crop seed. Just about done, which is good because my hands are cold. It's cold. Boy, I sure wish these old seed bags were recyclable, but they're not.
Here I come lugging this damn elevator end up here.
So that snoot goes right on the end of the elevator there. You need to be a little taller, Dad.
I need to be 8 foot 2.
We'll work on that. You still have some time left to grow.
I couldn't lose weight, so I just tried to get taller.
Okay, we got the snoot put on the elevator. It's all set. Now we just gotta crank it up, set it on one of these cribs. But first we have to put in the boards in the bottom here so that that trench underneath stays open, because that's where we put the conveyor that goes in there for when we shell the corn out in the spring. That'll be the subject of some other future video. Is Duke killing something? So we're coming up on the end of the day here, and wanted to just give a quick recap since I didn't take a ton of video. I drilled in those cover crops this morning, ran out the last of our cover crop seed. Dad took a load of soybeans, that last gravity box full of soybeans, down to Montgomery to the elevator there to ship that last bit. It wasn't worth having a trucker come out for one gravity box of beans. So he pulled the wagon down there with his pickup truck, got all the way down to the elevator. Took him about 45 minutes. And when he got there, the grain leg had broken. He couldn't unload. So he ended up having to pull the load all the way back home. So I think he's going to try that again tomorrow. That was frustrating. A lot of wasted time. But, you know, things happen and you have to just be patient and allow for that. Then we had to use this elevator here to transfer some hay from one of the barns. We rent one barn, and then my sister has a barn where she has some horses. So we had to move some hay using the elevator before we got it ready for corn. We didn't want to go back and forth and start with corn and then have to take that snoot off the elevator and then, you know, move hay with it and then put the snoot back on. So we just got that done and out of the way. It was a little bit of screwing around, but now that's done and we can focus on getting the corn crop harvested. So this is really cool to me. Now that the soybeans are done and those cover crops are planted, in previous years we would have been focused on getting our chisel plow out and getting that ground turned over and turning it black. And instead, we've got millions of seeds out there just waiting to come up. You know, it's that whole shift in attitude of what can I go out and kill or what can I till up today? And instead it's what can I plant, what can I grow, what kind of life can I encourage? That's kind of the basis of the whole regenerative agriculture thing. As a farmer, it's much more gratifying to know that you're fostering life out there rather than trying to eliminate everything except one thing. That's a cool feeling.